Hello, everybody. Come on in, take a seat. We are continuing our series on the Jasmine Pace tragedy. And today we're actually going to review and watch opening statements for the man who took her life. Okay. But to just give you a little bit, if you don't know about Jasmine, this is Jasmine. Okay. Beautiful young girl. Beautiful young girl. Beautiful. In early 2022, Jasmine and Jason Chen met on a dating app. The two were both college students at the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga. And then they began dating. On Tuesday, November 22nd, 2022, phone records show that Jazzy, which is what her parents and her family and friends called her, speaks with Chen on the phone for 1 hour and 11 minutes. After that call, Jazzy goes to Jason Chen's apartment on Tremont Street, just off of Fraser Avenue, along Chattanooga's North Shore. Later in the evening, Jazzy texts her mother, Katrina, to tell her she would be staying at the house of a friend of hers for the rest of the week. Katrina Pace later testified she thought that was odd, given that it was a Tuesday before the Thanksgiving holiday. 11:27 p.m. on Tuesday, November 22nd, Katrina Pace says it's the last time she saw her daughter near Tremont Street. On Wednesday, November 23rd, 2:18 a.m., Katrina Pace gets a text from Jasmine's phone that pings her location. Pace later said this text went unnoticed for some time. And I can understand that, right? It's in the middle of the night. You're not going to be looking at your phone. If you're like me, you don't even hear it. On Saturday, November 26th, on Jazzy's Facebook page, a photo post appears that captioned "Thanksgiving with my baby." The photo depicts her wearing clothing that Jazzy's family was out of character for her. They began reaching to Jazzy out of concern. Several messages to Jazzy's phone are sent to friends and family, none of whom spoke with her on the phone. All messages had Jazzy saying she wanted to be alone. Later in court, Katrina Pace testified that she used the My Chevy app to track Jazzy's phone that night. At 8:27 p.m. on Saturday the 26th, Katrina Pace also later testified that she found her daughter's abandoned vehicle near the Signal View condominiums off of Mountain Creek Road. She testified that she noticed the seat had been adjusted for someone taller than Jasmine, who was 5'2". Katrina Pace calls 911 about her daughter's disappearance. On Sunday, November 27th, Chattanooga police confirmed that it was an active investigation. They met with Katrina Pace in person for the first time, and Katrina tells officers that over the weekend she and her husband went to 110 Tremont Street to speak with residents, at which time they discovered her boyfriend, Jason Chen, was living in an apartment there. An affidavit says Katrina Pace entered his apartment and found Jasmine's driver's license and several credit cards, but didn't find Chen or Jasmine. That affidavit says Katrina Pace told officers a neighbor told her that they'd heard a loud disturbance around 2 a.m. on November 22nd. Chattanooga police request and are granted a warrant to search Chen's apartment. An affidavit was obtained a few days later, says police found blood on the living room, hardwood floor, bathroom grout, and bedroom carpet, along with blood spatter on the bathroom wall. They also found several cleaning supplies that had recently been purchased and noted broken glass and other evidence that suggested a violent altercation. Monday, November 28th, Chattanooga police obtained video footage from inside the apartment complex. An affidavit says that footage showed Chen leaving the building with a mask on and black fabric wrapped around his hand. Wednesday, November 30th, Hamilton County District Attorney Cody Wamp and the police chief in Nolensville, Tennessee, near Nashville, announced that officers arrested Jason Chen at his family's house on criminal homicide charges. Wamp said the arrest came after a search warrant of Chen's Tremont Street apartment found enough evidence to charge Chen. An arrest affidavit says Chen had lacerations on his right hand that indicated he had been in some kind of physical fight. Chen was first taken to jail in Franklin, Tennessee, but on this date he returned to Hamilton County, where he's been held behind bars. Later in that day, we obtained the affidavit that spells out the evidence. And later in that day, Katrina Pace posted to Facebook saying, "The outpouring of true love and support from the community this past week has meant more than I can explain. I ask that our community and everyone that has been affected by this horrible event, everyone that has a daughter, a sister, a mother, or grandmother, can sympathize with what we are being forced to process." She shared a photo of Jazzy on her thing. On December 1st, Jasmine's stepfather confirms that Jasmine's body was located. A few hours later, Chattanooga police confirmed that human remains stuffed inside a suitcase and dumped off the side of Suck Creek Road just outside Chattanooga are those of Jazzy. Okay, so that's, just kind of the background of what's going on in this case. Okay. So she was stuffed inside a suitcase. And now we are going to go ahead and listen to the trial, just the opening statements. Okay. And then, further episodes, I'll share testimony. Okay. So let's go ahead. I'm going to share my screen. Take that off of there. All right. So this is the prosecution that's going first. She's talking to the jury.
State of Tennessee, Criminal Court for Hamilton County, 2023. Count 1, the grand jurors upon their oath do present that Jason Chen, on or about the 23rd day of November 2022, in Hamilton County, Tennessee, and before the finding of this indictment, did unlawfully, intentionally, and with premeditation, inflict mortal injuries on Jasmine Pace, which resulted in the death of Jasmine Pace on or about the 23rd day of November 2023, in violation of Tennessee Code Annotated 39-13-202 against the peace and dignity of the state.
How does Mr. Chen plead to count 1? Not good. No.
And that is Mr. Chen right there.
Grand jurors upon their oath do present that Jason Chen, on or about the 23rd day of November 2022, in Hamilton County, Tennessee, and before the finding of this indictment, did knowingly, without legal privilege, physically mistreat a corpse in a manner offensive to the sensibilities of an ordinary person, or disposed of a corpse in a manner known to be in violation of the law, in violation of Tennessee Code Annotated 39-17-312 against the peace and dignity of the state. This indictment, I'm sorry, Judge. This indictment was signed by the District Attorney General and was filed with the Clerk of the Courts on March the 23rd, 2023.
I look at the Mr. Clerk. Not guilty.
There's Mr. Chen in the middle, right there. This is him right here. Oh, she's bringing out the gloves, guys. It's rather scary. Oh, no. I remember recently a trial that just went on with a suitcase. Maybe you guys remember it, Sarah Boone or George Torres. I always want to call him Jorge. But I guess he went by George. But he had climbed into the suitcase and she zippered him shut and left him there, even though he begged to get out. This is a little bit different, but I don't think I'm ever going to look at suitcases again in the same way, guys. I can't. You know, we also had little Gannon style, right? That was another suitcase. Horrific.
This is the suitcase in which Jason Chin stuffed the 98-pound body of Jasmine. That's where I'm going to begin the story. Except I want you to remember that as you hear evidence in the next week, that this is not a story like the one that you read in the novel where you have to imagine the appearances of characters. The evidence that you will hear in this case is very real. The evidence will not require that you use your imagination. Jasmine Pace was very real. And Jason Chin really killed it. The suitcase was located in a brushy area just yards from the bank of the Tennessee River and right off of Suck Creek Road. In it was the body of Jasmine Pace, who had been placed in a fetal position inside of 3 black trash bags. Her right ankle was handcuffed to her right wrist. Her left ankle had been shackled to her right arm.
So she was shackled, kind of in a fetal position, guys. Her right arm was shackled to her right leg, and her left ankle was shackled to her right arm. The only thing that was left open was her left arm. And by the way, Jason has admitted to doing this.
Her wound was extensive. You will hear from Dr. Cogswell, the medical examiner for Hamilton County, who will describe those wounds in great detail. He stabbed her over and over and over again, not 7 times, not 29 times, not 43 times, but 60 stab wounds. One wound, a through and through, from the right side of the neck all the way through the left. Another so deeply penetrated her rib cage that the tip of the knife broke off into her lung. You will see the tip of that knife. The state of Tennessee is required.
So you can tell that this was a crime of passion, right? That was so, you know, there was anger, right? That it would, penetrate so deeply that the tip was broken off into her lung. Guys, I will never understand how someone can bring themselves to do something like this, and you're going to hear from when the defense gets up there to talk what Jason was thinking, I don't know. It's awful.
To prove to you 3 elements for first-degree premeditated murder. The first is that Jasmine was intentionally killed. The second is that it was with premeditation. You will hear facts and evidence. You will see photos. You will hear from witnesses that allow you to believe beyond a reasonable doubt that she was intentionally killed and that premeditation was involved. But the third element is that the state of Tennessee has to prove that he did it. I'm going to start from the beginning. The two of them had been seeing each other, Jason and Jasmine. On Tuesday, November 22nd, 2022, the week of Thanksgiving, Jasmine left her home and drove to Jason's apartment, a 1-bedroom apartment where he lived by himself. She was never heard from again after November 23rd. After November 23rd, 2022, her friends and family never heard from her. She never returned home, and she missed Thanksgiving. Like most families would, they knew something was wrong. You will learn that Jasmine's family quickly suspected that Jason Chen had something to do with her disappearance. Despite the family's best efforts to get the police department involved, initially the Chattanooga Police Department was of no help. Jasmine's family was forced to take matters into their own hands.
And she's absolutely right here. Chattanooga police acted like they didn't care when the family contacted them. The family did what was right. They contacted the police when they found her vehicle, right? And she said that the officer acted like he didn't care. Another statement was made about, don't call me on the weekends. Call me during the week. Excuse me, crimes happen on holidays, on weekends. I would have gone to the top on that one. I would have went way over that officer's head. I understand that they were worried about Jazzy at that point. And after they found the vehicle and after they talked to the police, they went to a restaurant and were sitting there talking, and Jazzy's mother was going through her phone and realized that she missed a pin that Jazzy sent her about 2:18 a.m. in the morning the night she disappeared, right? The morning she disappeared. And I can't imagine what that mother feels like, right? I cannot imagine what she feels like for having missed that pin. But it's understandable. It was 2:18 in the morning. How many of you look at your phones when you're sound asleep, right? So what did they do? That pin was Chen's apartment, and they went there. Okay, let's continue.
So, on November 26th, 2022, you will learn that Jasmine's family broke into his apartment.
They did.
You will hear that.
They did.
You will hear that they were trying to find their daughter and their sister, and that they went in to his apartment.
That was
Of
where the
course,
pin was.
Jason wasn't there.
Oh.
But what was there? Some of Jasmine's belongings, including her driver's license and her credit cards. You will hear from a mother who was desperate to find her daughter. Eventually, and only because of the relentlessness of Jasmine Pace's family, the Chattanooga Police Department's Homicide Division executed a search warrant at Jason Chen's apartment on November 28, 2022. The missing persons investigation quickly became a homicide investigation when, even despite his best efforts to clean it up, Jasmine's blood was everywhere. Jasmine Pace's blood, upon the execution of the search warrant, was located all over Jason Chen's apartment. It was obvious that Jason had tried to clean it up based on the scene. You'll see those photos. You'll see photos of cleaning products, but you're also going to see video of Jason Chen on November 23rd, 2022, buying cleaning products at multiple locations the same day that Jasmine's friends and family stopped hearing from her. You will learn that homicide investigators located Jasmine's body in this suitcase on the side of Sup Creek Road, in part due to Jason's own cell phone location records. They were able to track Jason using those cell phone location records throughout Chattanooga on the day of the 23rd. Walgreens, Walmart, most likely looking for a place to dump her body. But then eventually, at 6 p.m. on November 23rd, 2022, Jason Chen leaves his apartment with a suitcase. He enters his vehicle and he drives to Suck Creek Road.
I give this prosecutor a lot of props here because I don't think I could touch that suitcase, guys. Do you? I don't think I could. She's making it sound very real, right? And when she's walking around with that, as she's telling about Jason leaving his apartment with that suitcase, honest to gosh, guys, I just don't. I don't think I could touch it. But she knows that what she's doing will make an impact with the jury, right? Because imagine if you're the jury. Well, we kind of are, right? I mean, we're sitting here watching, right? We're not going to make the decision in this case, but we are watching.
You will learn of other efforts that Jason took to try to cover his tracks. How he ditched her vehicle in a random apartment complex on Mountain Creek Road so that it was no longer at his apartment building. He sent text messages to Jasmine's phone to try to create an alibi when she was dead inside of his apartment and he was in possession of her phone. You will hear facts of cover up. You will learn that police never found Jasmine Pace's phone, but they did find her SIM card. The small chip that goes into the side of our phones to store all of our phone's information, her SIM card was located. Where was it? It was in a glasses case inside of Jason Chen's backpack that was in his possession when he was located by the Chattanooga Police Department.
Wow. I didn't know that, guys. Why? Okay, so he got rid of her phone. Why did he take the SIM card out of her phone to keep it? Every person who commits atrocities like this makes some kind of mistake. If you look back, even serial people will eventually make a mistake that gets them caught. In my opinion, Jason made a lot. He left her driver's license and her credit card in his apartment, right? The blood, well, that's very difficult to get rid of. You'll hear about how it went down to the subfloor, right? So that's very, very difficult to get rid of. Very difficult. So that's something it's just, unless you laid plastic down beforehand and were very, very careful. But when it's a crime of passion, you're not thinking of all that stuff, right? But he takes a SIM card and he keeps it with him in his backpack. Why? Why? Makes no sense.
And when you think that you have seen enough evidence that Jason Chen killed Jasmine Pace, you will be convinced that he stuffed her body in this suitcase after placing it in trash bags, because you will hear from a fingerprint expert. The fingerprint expert will tell you that Jason Chen's fingerprints were found on the innermost trash bag that surrounded her body. In the
Dear
first few days
Lord.
of trial, you're going to see a few witnesses that may at first seem confusing to you. Bear with me. They are going to be laying the foundation for evidence that you will see through Chattanooga Police Department homicide investigator Zachary Crawford. Over the course of the upcoming week, the state of Tennessee will prove to you beyond any reasonable doubt that Jason Chen handcuffed, sliced, stabbed, packaged, and discarded Jasmine Pace. I ask that you carefully consider this evidence. The state of Tennessee will give you the dots, and we will help you connect them. At the end of trial, I'm going to humbly ask that you find Jason Chen guilty of murdering Jasmine Pace in the first degree and then abusing her corpse. Thank you.
So, we saw that prosecutor in pre-motion before the trial, pre-motion hearings, and she's very intelligent, very quick-witted, very smart, very intelligent. I was very impressed with her. They put together this case and they put it together well, in my opinion. The defense, everyone has the right to a defense, right? But I think what you're going to hear next is going to be somewhat of a surprise to you. Okay, let's continue on. This is the defense attorney for Jason Chen.
I told you when we were in Nashville that I wouldn't waste your precious time. I have no intention to waste it during the course of this trial. In the early morning hours of November 23rd, 2022, Jason Chen killed Jasmine Pace. He didn't do it with premeditation. This is a voluntary manslaughter case. Voluntary manslaughter is the intentional or knowing killing of another in a state of passion produced by adequate provocation, sufficient to lead a reasonable person to act in an unreasonable manner.
A reasonable person to act in an unreasonable manner? No. Because, guys, I would say that everyone within hearing distance of my voice right now considers themselves to be reasonable. Would you commit this act? That irritates me so much, so much. Now, he admits that Jason did this crime, right? He admits it. Remember that premeditation doesn't have to be planned out before the act, right? It can be within seconds. It can be within seconds of the act.
The state told you during jury selection that in order to prove first-degree murder, they don't have to prove that it was a crime, but it wasn't. The state told you in jury selection that they don't have to prove a motive.
They don't.
There isn't. What the state does have to do is prove premeditation. And can't. Because it wasn't. Jason Chen is a first-generation Chinese American. He grew up in Nolensville. His parents worked at a Chinese restaurant, worked very hard bringing him up. Jason graduated from high school and then went to college here at Chattanooga, University of Tennessee, at Chattanooga, UTC. In November of 2022, he was a senior with a major in computer science. The year before, he and Jasmine started communicating. They met on Tinder. And after exchanging messages back and forth, they started texting using iMessage. You're going to see the iMessages between Jason and Jasmine. You're going to see how their relationship progressed through these text messages. In 2021, they dated for a few months, but then lost touch. But then about 8 months later, in May of 2022, they rekindled that relationship and they started dating, seeing each other more and more. They obviously got much closer. They traveled to Chicago together that summer. And you're going to see through the text messages, someone was obviously more into this relationship than the other. Jasmine started getting feelings text messages that Jason didn't reciprocate that. Then you come to the week of November 22nd. It was Thanksgiving. Jasmine and her family lost their grandmother. She was in grief. And on the night of November 22nd, around 11 p.m., she came over to Jason's house. And they did what they always do. Drink wine, smoke pot, smoke wax, watch movies, and do what 22-year-olds do. On the night of November the 22nd, they were drinking wine in the back bedroom. You're going to see pictures of the apartment. This apartment is 500 square feet. You can get from the front door to the back door or back wall, less than 10 seconds walking. Very small apartment. In order to open one bottles of wine in the bedroom, Jason had to go to the kitchen and get a kitchen knife to take off that plastic wrapper that goes around the top of wine bottles. So he was able to get off the top of the wine bottle, the plastic wrapper, and he placed it on his nightstand. At a certain point, they finish off the bottle of wine, and Jasmine goes back into the kitchen to get another bottle. And there on the counter is Jason's cell phone. Ding, 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 ding. That familiar Tinder ding that Jasmine and Jason knew so well because that's how they met. Jasmine looked at his phone and saw all these messages with other girls, with other people. And this was infuriating to her. She was already in grief, and it sent her in an anger into a rage, and they started yelling and fighting.
Oh, guys, this is irritating to me. The defense is victim shaming Jazzy. Now, anyone who was in a relationship is going to get angry about seeing Tinder messages from other women. Right? I mean, I don't know of anybody who wouldn't. If you're in a relationship, victim shaming.
Verbally, Jason came into the kitchen, and you're going to hear from witnesses that can hear both of them arguing. You're going to hear from witnesses that heard this dispute, not the words, but can hear them yelling. Jasmine attacked Jason with an empty wine bottle. And in reaction, Jason kicked her, and she fell backwards, knocking over wine glasses. She picked up one of the wine glasses and ran towards Jason, and Jason retreated, going from the kitchen to his bedroom, which you have to go through the bathroom. She chased after him, and he was trying to close the door to the bathroom, but couldn't because the bath mat got in the way. Then tried to run from the bathroom into the bedroom, but there was a pocket door, and it's impossible to close. And he gets back into his bedroom, and Jasmine is right there coming at him with this broken glass. Jason sees the knife, and he reacts. And he stabs. He blacked out. Your heart is racing. You're in that fight or flight response. Your adrenaline is rushing. You're in a panic. You're in fear. You don't know what's going to happen next.
I wish I could see Jason Chen's face right now, right? I'm not sure that, I'm sure evidence is going to point to things, but I'm not sure that I believe or agree with what the defense is saying happened here. Wine glasses could have been busted because Jasmine was trying to take flight. She bumped into them, or maybe he did. Her prints are going to be on them because she drank from it, right? I This victim shaming is horrific. It's horrific.
He comes to, he's laying over Jasmine's body, kneeling over it. He's bloody. Sickened by it, Jason crawls on his hands and knees to the bathroom and throws up. He lays there for minutes, and then goes back into the room and sees what he's done. He's scared,
I don't believe he blacked out either.
and he doesn't know what to do. And I wish I was telling you right now that he called 911, that he called the police, but he didn't.
He didn't.
He should. But even if he had called the police, I still think that we'd be having the same trial today, arguing the exact same issues. From there,
Victim shaming.
Jason decides that he has to cover this up. He has to hide what he's done. He's scared for what his future entails, but more importantly, the shame that he's going to bring on his family, the shame that comes with everything that he's being accused of today. So he sets down this course of trying to hide it. He places Jasmine in trash bags, puts the handcuffs on her after she is dead, so that way she can fit into the trash bags, and so that he can put her into that suitcase.
Do you guys believe that? Do you believe that he put the handcuffs on her after? What did he have handcuffs for in the first place? Does not make sense to me.
Where he then takes her body in that suitcase and drops her by the banks of the Tennessee River here in Chattanooga. He then sets on a course to try to clean up the apartment to his best of his ability. He does a poor job.
Yep.
He tries to hide the fact that what he did by texting her parents, texting Jasmine's parents, by pretending to be her on social media, whatever he can do to give himself an alibi. It's selfish and it's wrong. But he panicked and he thought this was the best course of action.
Somehow I don't think the jury is believing this.
You're going to hear about Katrina Pace, Jasmine's mother. Any person whose child is missing would go to such lengths and have such courage should be commended. She broke into Jason's apartment to search for her daughter. She also went in other times than that first time. She went in at least 3 or 4 other.
Yes, her mother went into that apartment 3 different times. She did. You know, would we have done the same? I don't know, guys. I don't know. If the police weren't helping me, yeah, I think I would have. Right? If the police were refusing to help me, I think I just might have. Now, the police have not charged her with anything, her or Jasmine's dad, sister, her husband. They have not charged any of them with anything. You know, I think that the police officer who initially responded and wouldn't get involved should be fired, in my opinion. But let's continue.
Doing 2 things. One, contaminating the scene. She couldn't have known what had happened there. I don't think that she purposely contaminated it. But what that's going to show in the evidence is the state's gonna show you what's called luminol, blue star agent. That reacts with blood, and it creates a blue, blue image. The cleaning materials and the blood that Jason cleaned up was trapped by Katrina Pace, all of her family that went in and out of this apartment. It was tracked by law enforcement officers going in and out, tracking all through the real apartment. Police, in this case, Chattanooga Police Department, and I'm embarrassed to say it, they were incompetent and impotent and unable to help Katrina Pace. In order to incentivize, in order to get the Chattanooga Police Department to look for their missing, look for Katrina's missing daughter, to get them to go and look for Jason and to arrest him, she had to stage the scene. She, or perhaps others.
So the defense is claiming that she had to stage the scene. He's not blaming her outright. He is blaming the Chattanooga Police Department. However, I don't for a minute believe that, but we will hear Katrina Pace's testimony, right? I don't believe that she staged anything. She did go in there. Did she track some of that blood without realizing it? Because it wasn't visible to the eye. She probably did, guys. Right? But she knew her daughter's driver's license and credit card were there, and her daughter was nowhere to be found. Her daughter's night bag was there. And her daughter was nowhere to be found, and neither was Jason Chen. She knew something was wrong, guys. She knew it with all of her heart, with all of her soul, with all of her mind, and all of her strength. She knew something was wrong.
I don't know. Went into Jason's apartment after meeting with the Chattanooga Police Department to make the scene look more incriminating than it actually is.
I don't believe that for a minute. Let's victim shame. Let's family shame.
You'll see a knife on the bed.
I don't have any respect for this defense attorney right here.
Went through the apartment initially before the search warrant was issued. You're going to see the differences between what the apartment looked like beforehand and what it looked like after. The second issue is the incompetency and the ineffectiveness of the Chattanooga Police Department. You're going to hear Zach Crawford. You're going to hear him testify at this trial that he told Katrina Pace and her family that he would tarnish this investigation if it meant bringing Jasmine back. Well, that begs the question, what did he do, or what could he have done to tarnish this investigation? What could he have done to manufacture premeditation?
This is the guy they're talking about.
And over the course of this week, I promised you not to waste your time. The state's talking about fingerprints on trash bags, DNA found at the scene. I don't intend to ask many questions about any of that. The only issue in this case is whether there's premeditation. If there is no premeditation, this is not first-degree murder. This killing didn't happen after calm and cool reflection as the law requires. This is Jason. After being sufficiently provoked, after having his girlfriend run at him with a bottle, with a broken glass, and him reacting in a panic, but acting irrationally. Jason Chen.
And I will say this. Let's give it the benefit of the doubt. She was angry. What if she did go at him with a bottle? I'm not saying that's right, guys. Don't get me wrong. She was 98 pounds, 5'2". he couldn't stop her? He could have stopped her and pushed her out the door and called the police if he was really worried about anything. He didn't have to unalive her. And yes, I use the word unalive, people, because I have to.
He's guilty. But he's not guilty of the crime that he's charged with. Jason Chen should be found guilty of the crime he did, not the crime he did. Thank you.
The rule has been requested. If anybody's going to testify in this case, it's not.
Okay. So those are the opening statements by the prosecution and by the defense. What are your thoughts, guys? What are your thoughts? Do you think that it was premeditated for first-degree murder? Or do you think that he really didn't give us a reason for it not being premeditated? Because remember, premeditation means you could have planned it within seconds of the act happening. In my opinion, when she came at him with the bottle and he looked and he saw the knife, that was premeditation. But we're going to hear all the evidence, right? We're going to hear it all. This case is going to be interesting, guys. I have never seen a case where the family has had to do so much before police would even step in. Did they go beyond what they should have? I don't know, guys. I guess we're going to find that out. Did they contaminate evidence? Yes. And see, that would be the thing that would stop me. I think that I would have called the police over. Right? I don't know. They weren't helping. So I don't know. It's hard to know what I would have done in that situation or what any of us would have done, right? I don't blame them, though. The police were not responding, right? The police were not responding. And that's horrible. And the defense even says the Chattanooga Police Department failed. And they did, guys. They did. So, I'm going to leave you today with our grannyism, okay? Please make sure you like and subscribe. People only get mad and defensive about certain topics when they know they are guilty. People only get mad and defensive about certain topics when they know they are guilty. So I want to thank everybody for coming on in, for listening to my video today. Please make sure you like, subscribe, share the content. We're trying to grow. We could use all the help that we could get, guys. And be sure to catch our lives most nights at 6:05 p.m. Central Time. Happy to have you guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate each and every one of you. Have a great day. Thank you for watching another episode of Granny's Crime Busters. We really appreciate each and every one of you. Don't forget to subscribe and like and even share the content. You can follow us on any of our other social media platforms at YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. We really appreciate you guys, and you can also email us at grannyscrimebusters@gmail.com. Thank you so much, and we will see you on the next one. Thanks, guys.